Hello everybody and welcome to the Derek Ruby Show. I am your host, the previously mentioned Mr. Ruby, and this is my spoiler-free review of Transformers: The Last Knight. Full disclosure, I have been a huge Transformers fan since the 1980s, so when I go into these movies, I try to go in non-biased. But I may have some tendencies to lead one way or the other, either be too hard or try to let things go just because I'm a Transformers fan. So with that in mind, let's talk about the good. If you like action, then this is probably the movie for you. The action scenes are breathtaking. I saw this in 3D, and that's what these movies are made for, is the 3D. If you saw them in 2D, you probably would miss something, so I wouldn't even try to watch a Transformers movie that way. There's a lot less of the critical Bay-isms that people like to talk about. It seems like there was less explosions than usual, but it's probably because the movie was so long, and when they did use the explosions, it was actually during epic battle scenes, so it made complete sense. And the jokes that people say fall flat actually didn't. I wasn't in a packed theater or anything, but every time they did land a joke in the movie, everybody laughed. If you've watched any of my movie reviews before, then you know I really like character development. And the character of Kane Yeager, played by Mark Wahlberg, had some significant character development in this movie. A lot of the other actors came off strong, and they really took time to expand some of the lore of the Transformers, which I really appreciate. There was 3 subplots going on, and somehow they managed to intertwine them at the very end of the movie, and they made that work. Plus, the movie didn't feel like a drag. So that's the good. Now let's talk about the middle ground. Some of this is good, some of this is bad, just on this one subject, but I want to talk about continuity. So there were a lot of Easter eggs and some familiar characters that had been in previous movies that we might not have seen for a while, and that aspect of the continuity was nice. They even made some references back to the first movie, which was really great. On the flip side of it, some of the continuity made absolutely no sense, such as characters getting a name change in the previous movie, and then coming back to this movie and getting their name changed back with no explanation at all, just to sell a new toy. It's good to see a lot has not changed since the 1980s. So let's just go ahead and talk about the bad and continue our continuity discussion a little bit. Sometimes the continuity in the movie itself that's happening in real time doesn't make sense. There are things that happen where I thought to myself, did I miss a scene or something? When did they get this, or how did that happen? But it's happening in the same fucking movie, so what the fuck? I don't know if they just cut this down or what happened, but that always bugs me when just something happens and you have no idea what the fuck. And back to the subject of character development, it's nice that Mark Wahlberg got character development, but what about the Transformers themselves? No, zero. Part of the problem with the Transformers movies is they're called Transformers, not Mark Wahlberg and his amazing robots. When you go to Avengers, you go to Avengers to see the Avengers, not to spend 45 minutes with civilians that you don't know about. Now, to be fair, they did spend a lot more time with the Transformers than usual, but still, they like to shoehorn in some new characters that you probably won't even see the next movie, and that goes for the robots and the humans. But on the plus side, you got to see Grimlock a lot more than you did in the last movie. Transformers really needs to take a cue from Planet of the Apes, because they get their franchise right. They make the apes the stars of the movie. They're more important than the actual humans that are in the movie, and Transformers always fails on this miserably. And by the way, if you were really excited about seeing Optimus Prime become Nemesis Prime, well, don't get too excited. It's not as bad as the Joker in Suicide Squad or Grimlock in the last movie, but it's not exactly what you would expect either. And that's a big negative on my part, hammering things in the trailer that you're not really completely focused on or making them seem more than what they are. Also, when it comes to the plot, while it does wrap up nicely at the very end, it's very inconsistent and all over the place. And if you're not paying attention at times, you can get lost. So when you look at the main plot, it's actually kind of weak in basic storytelling. But they try to overcompensate this by making certain elements complicated, but then turn around and make things mind-numbing when you're just supposed to assume that things happen a certain way. And I do think the movie's just a tad bit long, but at the same time, compared to some of the other movies, I didn't feel like it so much. It actually worked out okay. I would much rather sit through this and watch Batman v Superman again. So overall, what do I think of the Transformers: The Last Knight? It's not bad. It's actually a good Transformers movie. But it's not a great one. This is a fucking great Transformer movie.
I would have waited an eternity for this. It's over, Prime. Never! Optimus, forgive me.
How do you feel, mighty Megatron?
See, the original movie from 1986 had solid characters, a plot, character development, and it wrapped up very nicely at the end of it. And the main factor is, the Transformers were the stars of the movie. The live-action films just never can seem to get that. And every one of them, except for the first film, either sucked or was just good. And that's a shame because Transformers is a very powerful franchise. And it could have been one of the greatest things ever. The first movie was good because it was the first time we'd ever seen it, and it had a nice mix of comedy and action, and all the elements we would like to see in a Transformer movie. And then the second movie just went straight to hell. Ever since the Revenge of the Fallen, they've only been able to make the movies okay or good, but they can never recapture the excitement of the first one. And they sure as hell pale in comparison to the original 1986 movie. So if you like this franchise, I think you'll think this movie's okay. If you're not a fan of it, it won't hurt you to watch it. But don't expect anything that great. Just lower your expectations and expect nothing, and you'll be alright. So I'm going to give Transformers: The Last Knight 3 stars. So thank you guys for listening to The Derek Ruby Show. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. And as always, have a good one, and I'll see you guys next time.
Oh, how it pains me to do this.
Wait, I still function.
Wanna bet?
Starscream!